Are your kitchen and bathroom remodels a little overdue? Well, now's your chance to call First Response Contracting. John Sellers will take care of you. 484-256-7136. They do residential and commercial, and they're licensed and insured. Give them a call at 484-256-7136.
The ego says when the physical world outside changes, I'll feel better. And the soul says when you feel better, the outside will change.
From real estate affects the market as a whole, which then sometimes will affect the tenant.
Right. Come in.
The real life.
We all learn in different ways. If you think about it, Wayne Dyer might not attract everybody.
And everything in between.
Mission was really to help people just to reach their full potential.
The Brad Weisman Show. And now, your host, Brad Weisman.
All right. Welcome to the show. Every Thursday at 7 p.m., Hugo, we are just getting it done.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. But no, I got to tell you, we have some amazing guests coming up. We have amazing guests today. We've had amazing guests in the past. Today is a guy that just caught my attention.
Why?
Because he uses magic. When he does his keynote speaking, he uses magic illusions to get his point across about his message.
Wow, that sounds magical.
It is magical. It's really magical. So I'm really excited to bring him in. He's from Denmark, lives in Florida now, and I want to get him on the show because he was really intrigued me. So his name is Anders Hansen, and he's going to join us right now. So Anders, are you there?
I am. Thank you, Mr. Brad and Hugo, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Well, you are so welcome, and we're really excited to have you on. Yeah, that was what caught my eye. I mean, you do magic.
Very true. Very true. Real magic, like I like to call it now.
Real magic. What's real? Real Magic is the name of your company. It's called. You're the CEO of Real Magic LLC. Tell us about your company.
Yeah, so we help people transform their lives by rewiring the way they think. And that's what my mission is about. I help conscious entrepreneurs transform how they lead and grow without that hustle and hype like many people end up with when they try and transform. And I do that using my framework called From Illusion to Integration, right? Because we all live with all these mental illusions that's sort of blocking us from that next level in our life and in our businesses. And we've helped now 10,000 clients. I've worked with Bob Proctor, who was one of the best in the world. We co-created a program together. Since then, last 7 years, generated over $12 million and now lead a team of people that are committed to transforming millions of people's lives.
That's incredible. Yeah, you make it sound like that's all you do. You just do that casually. That's amazing. I mean, that's incredible. It really is. I mean, you're changing a lot of lives. And I do like the twist of the illusion. You know, we talk about negative self-talk. We talk about things like that. We talk about mindset. And, you know, I never heard anybody bring it to use the word illusion as the word. But it really is. If we're believing our own illusions in our head. Yes. That is like bad self-talk, and we have limiting beliefs from doing that, you know, certain things like that. So this is really intriguing to me. It's really intriguing. So let's dig more into it. So you basically, when you're doing your talks, when you're on stage, you're bringing in illusions with you to kind of bring the point across of what's going on. You did this one I saw on Instagram with this bottle of water that you're pouring into a glass, and it appears that the glass is floating and there's still water coming into the glass. It's kind of messed up.
Yeah, that's one example. You know, there's many, but illusions, we are all subjected to them. I speak from experience as a professional. I'd like to say now recovering illusionist. You know, I used to do it for 20 years, but I realized how much we trick ourselves and how most people are stuck in mental patterns that absolutely do not serve them. And so I've seen what happens when we are challenging those conceptions of reality. And that's what illusions do. They're a very effective framework to help rewire our thinking. And so when we tie that with a very solid tool or a message, it makes the message stick. And that's what I think Bob Proctor saw when he and I teamed up back in 2018. And, he said, Anders, utilizing illusions, there's really only three ways to integrate new ideas in the human mind. It's through fascination, agreement, or shock. So we rule out shock, and then there's fascination and agreement left. So the magic fascinates the mind and opens the mind up to a new way of thinking. And at the same token, when we make agreements with new concepts, new ideas, new tools, it makes the message stick. And so as an example, Brad, I brought a multi-dimensional domino brick. I don't know if you can see it here.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
On this side, you guys see one dot, right?
Right.
Here you see 4, here you see 3, and here you see 6.
Okay, that's enough.
And then you realize what the heck happened.
Yes.
Your mind played a trick on you. Your mind actually created an illusion around something that wasn't real. Let's do it again. 1 dot, 4 dots, 3 dots, 6 dots. You might start to catch on here. So you've seen domino bricks before, and your mind finished the pattern. On this side, you saw 3 dots in the end because you finished the pattern mentally. Your mind saw either 1 dot or it saw 3 dots. It's never seen this pattern. So you didn't see that with your eyes. You saw it with cells of recognition in your brain that created the illusion. So the illusion wasn't created in my hands. It was created in your own mind. Same on this side here. So we have, 6 dots or we have 4 dots. We've never seen this pattern, so therefore we didn't see it. And so the mind, we have this need to finish the story. That's why we like happy endings in movies. There has to be, the circle has to be closed. We have to finish the story. And so here's the thing with the human mind, we finish stories that might not even be true based on our belief system. And that's what we're trying to override. So if I've done this correctly, I've challenged a few assumptions. You'll now see 3 dots on this side, and you'll see about 8 dots on that side.
Okay, now you're messing with us.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah,
a little bit.
And that's where the actual the magic comes into play. Yeah, the sleight of hand.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it illustrates the point.
Cool.
So we're creating these associations about our reality. And so whether it's growth in the business, it's more freedom, better health, there's so much we can do. And I see that there's a pattern in the 10,000 clients we work with. They fall into either one of the 5 mental illusions that most people live with. And when we work with those and override them, it leads to a 10x quantum leap in business results. It leads to a happy and healthy relationship or healthy body again, maybe after years of having physical ailments, because the body is just an expression of the mind. So the more we work with the mind, the better expressed our results on the physical plane. Yeah,
it's incredible. That's a really good example. If you're listening to this, go home. Obviously, don't do it in your car while you're driving. That's not a good thing to do. But if you're listening to this, go home and watch the actual video on YouTube. We're there at the Brad Weisman Show, and it's easy to see there. But yes, so you have down here, you've been helping, you have on your website, you're helping achievers create quantum leap breakthroughs. I hear that word quantum leap a lot. What exactly does that mean for achievers? Like, what does that define that?
Exactly. So when we look at the word quantum leap, it is the process that a particle undertakes when it seemingly without effort jumps from one location to another location far away. It's in the quantum world of quantum physics. Yeah. Now we can undertake the same kind of growth if we start thinking about our goals in the right way. And so Bob Proctor challenged me the first time we met. He said, how do you create an illusion, Anders? And I told him, I go as far as I can in my mind. I build an image of something that I right now consider to be impossible. And then I work backwards. Oh, wow. And he goes, that's the recipe I've used to help millions of people create quantum leaps. So quantum leaps is something that it defies logic. It makes no sense to the logical mind, but that is what creates significant results. As an example, we had a client that was doing about 100K a year. A year and a half later, she's doing $1.2 million a month. That's a quantum leap. Yeah. She literally 10x'd her income or revenue in business and also her income in a year and a half. Those results are what most people dream of over an entire span of their career. And so that's a quantum leap. And we all have that. I mean, we're infinite potential in human form. So we all have that potential within us. We just need to understand our mind better.
Yeah, it's thinking outside the box and just because and these are simple terms. What got us to where we are now is not going to be what gets us to the next step. And I think that's a lot of times people think that being the same person, the way you do things now, being the same person is going to get you to that really, really high end goal. And it's just not, because that's what got you here, but that's not going to get you there.
100%. That's so true.
Yeah, it's amazing. And also, you know, it's when we were talking about SpaceX, to bring that into this a little bit. We were talking about that before we started recording. You know, the one that blew my mind, that was a quantum leap in my mind, was the first time I saw a rocket land.
Yeah.
You know, do you know what I mean? That blew my mind. That to me was just impossible. And now there's a thing that actually catches it, which even blows my mind even more. So, you know, that just shows you somebody thinking way outside the box, because I don't think anybody thought that was possible.
100%. I watched the same clip probably 100 times. I was so fascinated by it. But I came to the same conclusion that I often do. Us human beings are equipped with the same amount of potential. You can go to theology or science. Both sources tell us we have infinite potential. Yeah. So Elon Musk and you and I have the same, we have the same potential. Yeah. We have the same mental tools. We have the same latent potential. But he is just one that is really allowing himself to think backwards from an impossible goal. And look at, you referenced SpaceX, NASA, you know, for years and years, their process was strategy and thinking and calculation. Elon's approach is, let's just try it, you know, blow it up and try again and learn as much as, like, iterations, right? Iterations. Yeah. And that's what it is. But anyone can sit down and create a quantum leap in their life and in their business, but we have to let go of the belief system in the goal setting process. So there's three kind of goals, Brad. There's A goals, B goals, and C goals. A goals is what we know how to do. That's last year's performance. There's no growth. There's no inspiration. B goals, what we think we can do. Most business owners go for the 10%, like the 10% incremental growth, 10, 15%. That's good enough. You know, it's the slow progression. There's very little inspiration either. And we bring out the calculator and we start to look at if this and this falls into place, then we can. No inspiration. A C goal is what we really want. And now you have to activate the mental faculty called imagination. Yeah. So we have 6 mental tools. One of them is imagination. And a real quantum leap goal starts with the imagination. And the crazy part about it, and I've seen that over and over, 10x is easier than 2x. Yes. Which is also
absolutely. I read the book. It's unbelievable. And you're right. You're right about it.
Because it comes with a different charge of energy. It comes with a different want, like a burning energy, like of, this is what I really want. It's not what I need, not what I think I can do, what I really want. That's what Bob Proctor asked me. You know, I was buried in debt. I was sick. I had a blood test that told me I was really sick. Nothing worked. An eviction notice on the door. And the alternative was a cardboard box on the street. And I went from $40,000 a year, which is the most I'd ever earned, to $750,000 in 11 months. Wow. And I had no idea what I had done. I just followed good direction. All of a sudden, I a good mentor, and I did what he told me. But I allowed myself to think what I really wanted for the first time in my life. And
that's cool.
You know, but that's what it's about. It's about allowing ourselves to think freely, and most people, unfortunately, don't.
Yeah. What were you doing? So how did you get to the situation that you were in, that bottom area? You know, who were you then that got you there?
Great question. So I emigrated here to the US in 2006. I arrived with nothing but 2 suitcases and a deck of cards. I started performing magic for tips in local restaurants, got my work visa established really quickly because I knew that was essential. And that transformed into a longer term contract with cruise ships and TV shows. So I started building my career in magic. Now that took me to a point where I was running with the illusion that most entrepreneurs does. Time is money. That is probably the most expensive lie we inherited, right? But I ran faster, worked harder with the wrong idea that was going to lead to better results. And so after 8-9 years of traveling 8 times a week on average, flying 8 times on average a week, I was burned out with adrenal fatigue. I crashed completely. And my partner and I at the time lived in Las Vegas. We had moved out there. And I was sitting in this little 1-bedroom apartment, and rent was due, no income, and I felt really hopeless. Like I thought I had built something up that I really wanted, but in the middle of it, it wasn't really that anyways. Like magic was a dream of mine for many years. When I was in the middle of it, it felt hollow. Getting the audience to ask themselves, how did he do the trick? Because at the end of the day, I didn't care if they found out. All I asked about was, what did they take away from the experience? And I had studied my mind, personal development. Somebody gave me the book, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. In fact, it's right here. It's falling apart now. But, you know, I studied that since 2006. And that was the first book. And I got into that. And then I realized, there's more to my mind than I give myself credit for. Got myself back on track, asked myself what I really wanted. And what I really wanted was to work with the best in the world in personal development. That's what made the turning point.
Wow.
All of my friends said, just get a job, just do this, just do that. But I know there's an eviction notice. I know my blood test says I'm sick, but this is what I really want. So most people try and get away from something they don't want. I want to get away from the diagnosis, away from the debt, but it's about what are we running towards? Because our subjective mind is 100% deductive. So I get more of what I don't want if I don't focus on what I want.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's amazing. So you come from, and from Denmark. How'd you get from Denmark to here? Like, what brought you to the States?
I had become a version of myself I absolutely didn't like. I was not a very happy guy when I was young. I was conflicted with my personality. I didn't understand myself. I was confused. I wasn't the friend I knew I could be. I just was at a very desperate point in my life. And I asked myself, I always loved everything about the United States. Like even today, just talking about it make me choke up, and think about that. Sitting in my little 1-bedroom in Denmark, dreaming about a life here. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy a plane ticket. I'm going to give it everything I've got. I sell everything. What I can't sell, I'm going to give away. Jumped on a plane and went all in on that idea. And it was a desperate attempt to reinvent myself. And in the process, my dad died. My friends left. I was stuck. I sold a business, buried in debt. It wasn't a nice place to be, but I made the decision.
Well, you turned out pretty damn good.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
That's amazing. And I also want to say to the audience, do you hear what he said, how much he loved being in the United States? I think sometimes as Americans, we take it for granted what we have here. I know Hugo and I have talked about this a couple times, that we don't realize what we have. We don't realize the opportunities we have. And yes, we have political stuff that goes on here and there, whatever. It's always controversy there. But at the end of the day, the American people are what makes up the country, and the American people are resilient. And I think we still have one of the best things going on, so be thankful that we're here, right? Be thankful.
Oh my gosh.
Here, yeah.
I'll just have to say, I think many Americans don't understand what they have.
Yeah,
I mean, they should go and move to another part of the world.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you the perspective they would get, they would appreciate where they came from so much more.
Yeah. I agree with that, and I appreciate you saying that because I think it's very true. So let's move on. Boy, we're just some heavy topics here, huh?
Yeah.
We're getting in deep. This is good. So there was other thing that you had on here that I really, really enjoyed. You were answering a question from somebody on a reel or whatever, and it was the definition of success. And I really liked your definition. I liked what you said. It was a very, like I said to you before we went and started recording, it was a very humble definition of success. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about being a star. It was just a very humble definition. So if you don't mind sharing your definition of success, I'd really appreciate that.
It actually came from Bob Proctor's mentor, Earl Nightingale, who started the self-help industry back in the 60s. And when I heard it from Bob the first time, I resonated with it the same way you resonated with it. Yeah. I thought it was the best definition I've ever heard. He said, success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So that means a person who gets up every day and pursues what they believe to be worthy of them is a successful person. Yeah. So a student that gets up and improves their grades in school every day is a successful student by that definition. A business owner that keeps creating better results for their employees and their stockholders is a successful business owner, per that definition. So I like that because it does not attach us to the outcome. It makes us fall in love with the process. And I think that's what it's about.
Yeah. Wayne Dyer said, don't be attached. You're not supposed to ever be attached to the fruits of your labor. You're supposed to do it to be for serving, not for the reward that you get.
Where we talked about perception and Bob and I, and he said, yeah, because he was a good friend of Bob's. And Bob said, Wayne always said, when you change the way you look at something, the thing you look at changes.
Yeah, we use that in Keller Williams. That's one of the things we use as one of our statements for our realtors is when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at will change.
I love it.
Yeah, and it's just great. It's just great. And that never changes. No matter what year it is, no matter what happens, it could be 1,000 years from now or, 1,000 years before us. Those kind of things never change. It's always, those things are fact, and that's the way it is. So I think it's very cool. So let's the other one. There was another quote that you had here was rich people pay with their ideas, poor people pay with their money. That was really cool, really profound. It hit me, and I'm like, it made sense that as entrepreneurs or people that are more they pay it's their ideas that get them there, not the money. It's our ideas. Period.
100%. What I find too is, successful people hyper focus on the outcome and ignore price. And people that don't succeed very much in their life, they hyper focus on price and ignore the outcome. And so the reason why people do that is we have been conditioned to pay with our money. We've been conditioned to pay with our time that has rendered us a certain amount of money because we put a big equal mark between time as money. And it isn't. It's a lie. It's an illusion. I had a good mentor of mine one point. He said, Anders, it costs me the same whether I fly on a private jet or I buy a bottle of water. I pay with my ideas.
Yeah, right.
So it's interesting. And it is true as an entrepreneur, we are paying with valuable ideas in the marketplace, whereas as people that are stuck in the time and money trap, they pay with their hard-earned money that they earned by selling all their time.
Hey guys, I want to take a second and thank Comfort Pro. Since 2001, Comfort Pro has been helping customers stay comfortable where they live, work, and play. They have 24/7 emergency service and a 100% customer satisfaction guarantee. If you need help with your heating and air conditioning or indoor air quality, call Comfort Pro at 484-917-1803. Mention the show and receive a free humidifier with the installation of a complete system. Yeah, so true. So true. And that's what, when that just hit me, because it's if you look at entrepreneurism or business or anybody that's moving forward, it's the ideas that really are what it is. But it's also following the ideas and having the trust in yourself that those ideas can be realized. That's that, and that's where you got to have that motivation, that trust, that self-worth and all those things too.
Absolutely. Yeah. Self-image plays a huge role. And that is a cornerstone in everything we do, because I find a lot of people skip that step. They know what to do. They have the information, but their identity at the root on a cellular level has not been changed. And that was actually seen as the biggest breakthrough in the 60s, the biggest psychological breakthrough in the 60s when Maxwell Maltz came up with it. And he realized, he was a plastic surgeon, and he realized sometimes when he worked on people, there was a huge psychological shift that took place, and so sometimes it didn't. And it made him postulate that we have two images. We have one image that we project to the world around us, and then we have the subjective self-image that is locked up in ourselves, of our being, that is made up by our successes, failures, triumphs, successes, and everything else in between. And so we can't outperform it. And I see a lot of people trying. They work hard, run fast like I did, but nothing really changed. But when they changed what they believed they were worth on a cellular level, everything shifted, and it happened quickly. And that is real magic, seriously.
Yeah. Well, when you talk about those people that are addicted to getting facial surgery done, they think, the next nose job, that's what's going to make me happy. That's what's going to make me feel confident about myself. And it doesn't, because they don't realize it's not a physical thing. No. It's something that's inside that they need to change.
The ego says when the physical world outside changes, I'll feel better. And the soul says when you feel better, the outside will change. And so, and I think most people just don't understand.
Can you say that again? Say that again, what you just said.
Yeah. So the ego will say, when I earn more money, I'll feel rich. Or when I get a new nose, I'll feel pretty. Or something external changes, I will feel a certain way. That's the ego. The soul will say, when I feel a certain way, something else will change. When I feel rich, the money will follow. When I feel pretty and happy, everything will fall into place. And so there's a big difference there. Most people look to the external. And I think it happens, Brad, because we just don't understand ourselves. We're a tri-human being. We live on three planes. We're a spiritual being. We live in a body, and we're gifted with an intellect. When I understand how to shift all three sides of that persona, the physical will express something very different.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, it's Wayne Dyer always says we're a spiritual being having a human experience.
Yeah,
right. That's another one that he always used to say, which I thought was awesome, and it really puts things in perspective. Where that's what we are. So yeah, let's a couple more things that I had on here, and then we'll wrap it up. And then anything that you wanted to add too, if there's anything that you want to tell us about how we get in touch with you and all those things, we'll go through that. Then this was interesting. It said in LinkedIn you had rewire reality and unlock quantum leap results. What I was saying, what does that mean to you when you say rewire reality and unlock quantum leap results? What does that mean?
Yeah, so we have to rewire the way we see ourselves and what we're able to achieve, because reality, the external reality, is just a mirror of what's going on inside. So like we talked about before, when I change the way I see me, the external world will start to seem very different. Us entrepreneurs, people in general, we're not missing anything. We're already whole. We just need to learn to see ourselves in a different light. Yeah. Like you said, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We're infinite potential in human form. So when I start shifting the way I see myself, not as the thing coming back to me from the mirror, but an infinite human being, an infinite spiritual soul living in a human form right now, then we can start looking at what I really want. And the spiritual side of us just is always for full expansion and full expression, always for better, higher, richer, healthier, never for disintegration. And we have to lean into that. It's that impulse that keeps wanting more, and it's a healthy sign.
Yeah, definitely. So how does one get in touch with you? And is it going to see you at a keynote speaking? I mean, do you have other things that you can do from online? Can they contact you? How does that work?
Absolutely. So instead of just providing a website, I'd like to offer some really great free value upfront. So what I see the biggest struggle is for most people is they don't understand which of the 5 biggest mental illusions are holding them back. So the first thing I'm going to give is a self-assessment that anyone can take that will help them understand what is the predominant mental illusion holding them back. It could be 1 out of 5. Hustle, luck, fear, lack, grind, having to work hard. But it's interesting to know where you fall, because then you know what you need to change to get better results. And then on the tail end of that, we're going to provide a framework that helps a person prime their mind and their central nervous system to be in alignment with their goal. It comes complete with one of the modules from one of our programs, actually the program that Bob Proctor and I did, that will help a person understand the relationship between the mind and the body as it comes to results. So with that, you will start understanding the real reason why we haven't hit that next level yet and what to do about it. And so all you have to do, I call it my Real Magic Reset Kit. And all you have to do is find me on Instagram or Facebook at Real Anders Hansen. It's REAL and my name in one word, Anders, ANDERS, HANSEN. And all you have to do is type in the word, actually, Brad Weisman. My team set it up that way. And then we'll send that content.
And we'll have that out everywhere too. And this is obviously, when you're watching this, you're going to have all that information on our social media and everything too. And what's funny too, there's a couple Anders Hansens out there, just so you know.
Yeah, there's a golf player from my hometown.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, from Denmark or from Florida?
From Denmark.
Yeah. The blonde haired guy. Was that who it was? There was like 3 Anders Hansen. And what's funny, for a little bit when I first looked at, I'm looking at your thing, and then all of a sudden I looked up online, I'm like, wait, this isn't the guy that I got the information on. And I was like, okay, different guy. He's a golfer, a really good golfer.
There's a golfer and a brain scientist.
Yes, there's also a brain guy. Yes, exactly. But I was like, is that a popular name then in Denmark?
It's a very common name.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, it's like John Smith here.
That's what I kind of figured. Oh my God, that's funny. So yes, so if there's anything else that you want to share, I mean, as we wrap this up, let me know. But we really appreciate you being here. I love your content. I love the way you get your message across. It's very unique. I love the illusion part of it. And we hope to hopefully have you back again sometime. We can talk even more. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share?
I'd love to be back sometime, Brad, and dive a little deeper into the things we've talked about. I'd like to leave the listener with the idea that it's not who we are that holds us back. It's the illusions of who we think we're not.
Oh, good stuff. That's so true. That's so good. Love it. Absolutely. That's amazing. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it. We'll see you again. And thanks a lot.
I appreciate you and Hugo. Thank you guys for the great work you do.
Oh, thank you. All right. Anders Hansen, make sure you get the right one. It's not the golfer. It's not the guy that's like a brain surgeon or something like that. This is the guy. It's the CEO of Real Magic LLC. You have to look him up. He's on Instagram. He's on everywhere. Just go up, look at his website, and lots of information. Real Magic Live experience is so cool. You got to check it out. All right. That's about it. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. We appreciate you watching the show every single week. Thank you. Hey guys, if you're looking to buy or sell a house in Berks County or beyond, let me know. This is Brad Weisman from The Brad Weisman Show. You probably know I'm also a realtor, but I wanted to remind you, if you have any questions or you need anything, please give me a call, 484-256-5836. Thanks.